So, a week or two ago, I made my own top 25 current NBA players in the list, and I was pretty happy with it. I thought it was a very accurate list, but my friend mariodude 64 didn't, so he made his own top 25 list, pretty much just making fun of my top 25 list. And in the comment section, he specifically called me out saying, "React to my video. I dare you." And he called his list the real top 25 NBA players in the league. So in this video, I'll be explaining my picks for top 25 and why they're there. And I'll be reacting to Mario Dude's list and making fun of his list just like he makes fun of mine in this video. I will also be reading your comments at the end of the video, asking for answers on my top 25, basically answering questions about my top 25 list. Now I know him in real life, so I'm already going to guess that Steph Curry is number one.
My top 25 current NBA players list. So my friend Mr. Staple NBA made his list a few days ago. And his list was terrible. It was so inaccurate. So I just knew I had to make my own to show him who the real...
Man, thanks for all the words of encouragement, man. Can I copyright claim this video? No, I wouldn't do that.
top 25 players were. So here's his list. As you can see, he disrespected people such as Zach LaVine, Steph Curry, Luka Doncic, and so many more.
Okay, so I can explain. This is a perfect time to explain some of my picks, such as Curry, Luka, Zach LaVine, and Trae Young, I think he said. Now, the reason Curry isn't higher is he didn't make the playoffs. Everybody above him made the playoffs. But the reason I still put him on the same tier as everybody above him is because I know Curry's capable of being 1, 2, or 3, or 4, or 5. I don't know. I know Curry's capable of being a top 3 player. You might be saying, oh, well, Curry carried his team. They were 9 seed after coming from the 15th seed, and Curry averaged 32 a game or something like that. Curry's stats are kind of empty. Like, his team was not very good. Who else is going to shoot the ball 25 times a game? Curry has to shoot the ball. Nobody else is going to do it. Nobody else is good enough to make it. So his 32 points is a bit inflated compared to players like LeBron or Kevin Durant, who are playing with other stars who are averaging less points a game. Kind of the same argument for Luka Doncic, but Luka Doncic won more. And I'll make this argument for Trae Young and Luka at the same time. Both of them are probably bottom 10 defenders in the league. Luka's like a 6'7" point guard. That should give him some type of advantage on defense, but he's really still a bad defender. He's very slow, very unathletic. And they both shoot about 35% from 3, which is league average for supposed 3-point specialists. I will give it to them. They're not taking wide open threes like Danny Green takes. They're taking like contested fadeaways. And the main reason I have Luka below the other tier above him, the main reason he's not on the tier above, is those guys are all winners. I hate saying it, but Curry is a winner. He led the team to 73-9 5 years ago. He was the best player on that team. Kawhi led the Raptors to a championship. LeBron made like 10 straight finals in a row or something. Giannis literally just won his first ring. And Kevin Durant, kind of hopped on Curry's team and won. Honestly, everywhere KD goes, they win. He said I disrespected Trae Young, but I don't know who I'd put Trae Young ahead of. Anthony Davis was injured for the back half of the season, so I kind of count that out of his resume. Chris Paul just made a finals run. Paul George gave the Suns a good run in the Western Conference Finals without Kawhi Leonard. Honestly, Paul George led the Clippers after Kawhi went out with that ACL injury in the second. Booker also made a finals run. This is Kyrie's second best scoring year, and he's doing it with 3 other stars. But once again, Kyrie was also injured, and Donovan Mitchell led the Jazz to the 1 seed. And the Jazz made a pretty far playoff run. Pretty far, I mean second round, but they were kind of close to beating the Clippers. I don't really know. I think it was a 4-2 series for the Clippers.
So I'm making my own list. My rules for my list are I can only use players that he put within his 25 to 1. So I'm not using any of his honorable mentions. At 25, I got Jaylen Brown, then Chris Middleton, then Bam Adebayo, then Zion Williamson, then Jimmy Butler, then Zach LaVine. Now I put Jaylen Brown at 25 because he was the second best player on a team that couldn't even get past the second round, or the first round actually. So I just thought that he wasn't really that special. And at 24.
Hold on. Whoa. that was a lot for the first player of the video. Jaylen Brown was injured. And honestly, the Celtics were just an all-around mess this year. Jaylen Brown couldn't get past the first round as a second option. Zach LaVine couldn't even get in the first round as a first option. And just a couple years ago, Jaylen Brown with no Kyrie, him and Tatum led the Celtics to the Eastern Conference Finals, where they ended up losing against LeBron. Zach LaVine, a couple years ago, I think that was when he tore his ACL in Minnesota.
Or I have Chris Middleton, because Chris Middleton, he proved that he was really clutch in the playoffs, and he helped the Bucks get to the championship. However, his stats really weren't that good, so that's why I'm putting him at 24.
I agree with Chris Middleton over Jaylen Brown, but I don't agree with Chris below Zach, because it's like the Chris Bosh effect. Chris Middleton could probably average 27 a game on the Bulls in place of Zach LaVine, but Chris Middleton's stats suffered to be a second option and win a championship. I'd rather be Chris Middleton than Zach LaVine. And Chris Middleton's stats were still pretty good. I don't mean to disrespect Zach LaVine. I really like Zach LaVine. But I just wish he'd make it to the playoffs. Honestly, he doesn't even have to make a run like Devin Booker did to get a boost like Devin Booker did. He just has to make it and prove that he can play well there.
23, I got Bam Adebayo. He's a great player. He's been a great player for a few years. But at the end of the day, I can't put him higher than 23. At 22, I got Zion Williamson.
Great exclamation there, Mario dude. You just can't put him any higher. Now, something I want to explain is why isn't Bam an honorable mention and why isn't a player like Gobert on the list or Cat on the list? Just as a center, not just basketball player all around, Bam Adebayo, in my opinion, just as good as a defender as Rudy Gobert or DeAndre Ayton. Honestly, maybe even better because Bam can guard 1 through 5. I think Bam has the potential to have somewhat of a jump shot. He's getting there, but he's no Karl Anthony Towns from deep. But Karl Anthony Towns isn't on this list because he had a rough year. He lost a couple family members, and I feel terrible for him. I feel like Cat will make it to this list next season. I like what the Timberwolves are doing, mainly because they have D'Angelo Russell. If you'd put all of these centers at point guard, I would take Bam Adebayo as a point guard. Bam's a pretty good playmaker for a center.
Williamson. He had a great season last season. However, he couldn't get his team to win much games, so that's why I'm keeping him pretty low on this list.
Wait, same thing with Zach LaVine, right?
At 21, I got Jimmy Butler because he took a big step down from last season, as well as his team. So he wasn't winning as much as last season, and he played worse than last season. LaVine at 20 is because he had great stats. He had like 27 points per game. I think like 8 or 7 assists per game. However, his team, like Jimmy Butler, Zion, Jaylen Brown, wasn't winning. If you start...
Zach LaVine did not average 7 or 8 assists a game. He averaged 5 a game. It's still pretty good, but he's no playmaker like Chris Paul or something. Jaylen Brown averaged 3 less points than Zach LaVine while playing amazing defense. Jaylen Brown is a great defender. And Mario Dude just ignoring that and just saying Zach LaVine scores 3 more points, so Zach LaVine is 5 spots better.
Starts winning though next season, I would see him going up to like 15 or something.
I'll agree with that.
Now at 19, I got Kyrie Irving, then Bradley Beal, and Anthony Davis, and Donovan Mitchell, and Jason Tatum, Chris Paul, Paul George, and then Trae Young. I got
Already I see a couple humongous flaws in his list, but I'm going to let him explain them. I'm going to hope he has a good point.
Kyrie at 19 because he was the third best player on a Nets team that couldn't get past the second round. Now the Nets are still a great team, but Kyrie also took a big step down from basically every season pre-LeBron joining the Cavs. He only had like 21 points per game, and
Wait. 21 points per game. Editing the video, put up his stats on the screen right now. This was his second best scoring season. This was his first best scoring healthy most of the year season. And then in the playoffs, he got injured, so you can't blame him for a playoff loss. He wasn't playing. Kyrie got to be higher than this. The reason I have Kyrie above players like Jason Tatum or Beal or Trae Young or Donovan Mitchell is because when Kyrie is on his own team or playing with a balanced team around him like the Celtics, they're a very good team. Like Celtic Kyrie teams, other than being a mess in the locker room, were a great team. Alright, well not great, but good enough to make a good playoff run. The reason I put Tatum this low is because he had a good team with him that made the 7th seed. I did say the Celtics were an all-around mess, but Tatum is supposed to be the leader of that team. Brown is just a very good second option, like Bam Adebayo or Chris Middleton. The reason I have Beal above Tatum is because Beal's team around him was trash. I know he had Westbrook, but Westbrook played terrible. No, he played terrible the first half of the season, and once Westbrook started playing good in the back half of the season, the Wizards made a run and made the playoffs. If they played like they did in the back half of the season the whole year, honestly, the Wizards would be better than the Celtics.
he wasn't as ball dominant this season because that was more James Harden and Kevin Durant's job to score. And he was more third option, which wasn't normal for Kyrie.
That is a complete lie. Everything you just said is a lie. Now, I'm going to explain another thing about my list. The reason Harden is still a top 10 player, I wanted to put Harden above a player like Jokic or Embiid, but they were top 2 in MVP votings and led their teams on their own to high seeds. Embiid was the 1 seed in the East. The reason Harden is higher is because, in my opinion, Harden had a very good season proving he can play with other stars. Harden took a lead playmaker role, gave up scoring to Kyrie and Kevin Durant. Once Harden joined the Nets, he only averaged 24 a game. That number is inflated because the Nets had a lot of injuries during the season, like Kevin Durant and Kyrie going out, so Harden would play on his own or only with one of them. But basically, other than the year that Harden played point guard on the Rockets, this was Harden's best assisting year by pretty far. Since Kyrie joined Boston, this is Kyrie's second to worst assisting season, but his second best scoring season. And I know that's only out of 4 seasons, but it's once he started playing with Harden and Kevin Durant did his scoring go up and his passing went down. I don't know, I just find that weird.
18, I'm going to put Bradley Beal there because, like people like Zach LaVine, he had great stats, but his team wasn't really winning. At 17, I had AD.
I'm gonna semi-agree with the Bradley Beal take. I'll agree with it. But now he's gonna explain Anthony Davis at 17, and my head just might explode.
He had one of his worst seasons as compared to the past for him.
He was injured.
However, he's still AD, so you got to put him at 7.
That was a terrible explanation for putting Anthony Davis at 17. He didn't give much reason. He said he had bad season, but bad season due to injury, not bad season due to bad play. Now, I'll give it to you. Anthony Davis did have a down year. That's why he's at number 11, but I know that he is as good as everybody else on his tier. He just had a worse season than all of them. And I'm going to be honest, last year, I had Anthony Davis top 5.
At 16, I got Donovan Mitchell. He did a great job leaving the Jazz to a 1 seed, but he did nothing too special, and the 15 players ahead of him are just better. Now I put Jason Tatum at 15 because he's capable of going off for 40, 30, 50 points a game, and not a game, but like he can get games where he gets 50, 40, 30.
And Donovan Mitchell can't? Donovan Mitchell's just as capable as a scorer as Jason Tatum is. Wait, hold on. I just looked at Basketball Reference right now, and they literally both averaged 26.4 a game. Under PTS 2020-2021, 26.4. 26.4. They average the same amount of points. What does he mean? This guy is really a sucker for light skins who shoot contested threes.
He can just put the Celtics on his back, which is what he's been doing for the last few years. 14.
Okay, now I understand why he put Jaylen Brown so low. He just thinks Tatum carries on his own, which he has done for the past few years. Man, he had Kyrie and Kemba and Jaylen Brown and Al Horford.
Now got Chris Paul. He came in and took a Suns team that was a 10 seed, and he put him in the NBA Finals. They missed the playoff for 10 straight years. Then he joins the team, and they make the finals. I don't think I have to say anything more.
Wait, so if Chris Paul makes all that impact on the Suns, then where's Booker? I'm going to be honest, Booker might be in the top 10. I'm pretty sure he's going to put Booker in the top 10. Oh, no. If Chris Paul's the one who had all the impact on the Suns, why is Booker in the top 10? I don't even know what I'm saying anymore, but basically, you can't say I didn't tell you that he's a sucker for light skins that shoot contested threes. He's got to have Booker in the top 10 because he bumped Anthony Davis down to 17, and there's 11 players on my list left that have to be on his.
At 13, I got PG-13, and after coming off of one of his worst seasons in 2020, where he was getting joked about, being called Pandemic P, playoff P, but he came back and he had a great season, and even came up clutch in the playoffs without Kawhi. However, he couldn't get it completely done, and he's 13 for me. At 12, I got Trae Young.
He said, Paul George couldn't get it completely done, then neither could Trae Young. They both lost in the same round. And I'm going to be honest, Paul George didn't have a terrible last season. He's just so inconsistent. Honestly, I really like Paul George. Did I say that in the other video? I like defensive players that can win, like Paul George.
He finally was able to make the playoffs, and in his playoff debut, he did amazing. He brought them to the Eastern Conference Finals, and only 2 games away from the finals. And
same with Paul George. 2 games away.
Trae Young had a great season, great playoffs. Not much I need to say there.
Oh, well, hold on. Spoilers. Go back. He says, not much I need to say there, but I want to know why he has Trae Young over Paul George. if the reason he had Paul George so high is because he had a good season compared to last season, and he led his team to a deep playoff run. Why does he have Trae Young over Paul George? No. Why does he have Trae Young over Chris Paul? Chris Paul literally led him to the finals. I'm gonna be honest, I just don't like Trae Young. I don't like the way he scores. He lets people push him around, and that puts him at the line. I don't know, the way Harden draws fouls is he puts his arms in other people's arms and he fouls them for them to foul him. I don't know, I find that Harden takes like creativity into it. Trae Young just lets people push him. And it works, so I mean, can't discredit him, I guess.
Trae Young had a great season, great playoffs. Not much I need to say there. At 11, I have Joel Embiid. He had to carry the Sixers this season. Obviously, through the playoffs, he had got no help from Ben Simmons, so he just had to do all the heavy lifting. But I think he's a bit overrated. People always saying that he could be the MVP. I don't think he's as great as people say.
Why?
At 10, I got Devin Booker. Despite CP3 bringing the Suns from the 10 seed to the 2 seed.
Wait, so we're just going to ignore that Embiid is terrible? Embiid averaged 30 and 10 or something. I mean, don't quote me on that. I haven't looked at his stats. But he averaged 30, 10 and 4 or something. And he led the Sixers to the 1 seed. And like you said, with Ben Simmons playing Ben Simmons pretty much just giving up. I don't even know what he played like. He played like trash. So Embiid carried the Sixers, right? Why is he so bad? I don't know. I don't even know. Man. He better have a good explanation for why Booker's up there.
Seed. Devin Booker was still the better player on the Suns team. He took a big leap from his previous years. And he proved that he can be a championship leader. Or leader on a championship team.
That's what Chris Paul was. He was the leader of the team, Chris Paul. He came in and he turned that team around. And I know you're probably saying, oh, the bubble, the bubble. The bubble was a very different situation. I don't know. But he did do good in the bubble, I'll give him that. Or the Suns did good in the bubbles, I'll give them that. When without Chris Paul, Devin Booker's team wasn't winning at all. But when Chris Paul was on another team without Devin Booker, the Thunder, who were predicted to win 17 games or something like that, he led them to the 4 seed. Chris Paul is the ultimate ceiling raiser. And the ultimate floor raiser. That might be Russell Westbrook, but I don't know. I really just don't get why Devin Booker is above Chris Paul. Or Embiid.
At 9, I got James Harden. This is one of his first years since his OKC days that he was not the best player on this team. And his stats kind of suffered from being the second scoring option. However,
third. Coming from a Nets fan, third.
He's still James Harden. He didn't have a bad season.
You're right. He had a great season.
And so I got him at 9. At 8, I got Damian Lillard.
I'm pretty sure I already explained why Harden's so high. He proved that he can be an elite playmaker on a very good team. If any of you watched that Jimmy Highroller video about the Nets being unstoppable, I couldn't agree with it more. Harden is such a good scorer, as he proved earlier. The defenses have to focus on him. But he's such a good playmaker that when they do focus on him, the other stars on the team benefit from it. And then the other role players on the team, like Joe Harris or Bruce Brown, are going to benefit from it too. He just makes the team better, I guess.
Again, he had to put the whole Trailblazers on his back like he does every season. And he had a great season, great stats, but struggled to bring Portland past the first round. But it's not at all his fault.
I kind of agree with what Mario Dude is saying here. I think in a Trailblazers jersey, Lillard has peaked that one year he led them to the conference finals. But in like a different jersey, I think Lillard has a better chance at making the top five. So unless the Trailblazers trade for another superstar to help them, Dame gotta go. I'm sorry, Trailblazers. Oh yeah, if you hear my pet bird screaming in the background, I'm sorry. He's very annoying.
He did great. His teammates weren't. At 7, I got Nikola Jokic. He was the MVP this season. However, I think he was a little bit overrated. He had a great season. He was playing without Jamal Murray for lots of it. But at the end of the day, he's not going to be better than 7. At 6, I got...
I mean, I agree with you on the placing. I think, yeah, he's 6 on my list. Mario Dude literally just said he's not much higher than 7, but just said that. In his case, I don't think he's making a part 2 going into detail about explaining why players are where. In my case, I specifically said part 1 to my list just so I could get the rankings out on the internet and so somebody like Mario Dude could react to it or make his own version of it and I could explain the picks. I want to know why Nikola Jokic can't get any higher.
Kawhi Leonard. He led the Clippers before going out with injury. And you could see the difference between when he was on the court and when he was off the court. He was able to take down a Luka-led Mavericks team that did really good in the playoffs. Or did really good with Luka. Yeah, he got like 40 points in 4 games, yet Kawhi was still able to take him down. And then after he left, they couldn't get to the finals. So, still, great player. Put him in at number 6. Now at number 5, I got LeBron James.
Okay, Mario, getting fancy with the edits.
A lot of people might have expected me to put him at 3, 2, or 1, but I think he took a step down this season and last season. He's getting old. I think he's 37, 38. And he didn't have that.
How's he going to take a step down last season, but then win a championship? So LeBron's step down is still championship level. That's something. That is something. And LeBron himself was also injured for a long time in the season. So, I mean, the Lakers had a very injury-riddled season, basically. And I think if they were healthy, it'd be a different story.
Season, but he's LeBron James. You got to put him in the top 5.
No. Why is Luka here? I was going to make a comment on him not really explaining LeBron's placement well. But, I mean, I don't explain my placements well in my top list. I don't know. But then I see Luka Doncic pop out on my screen at number 4. Luka hasn't even got out of the first round yet. And you're already putting him above a player like Kawhi Leonard, who literally beat Luka Doncic, by the way, and has led a team to a championship. I really don't know what to say about this one. The reason I have Luka lower, in my opinion, not as much as a winner, which, basketball-wise, is a big thing. If you notice on my list, the top 5 all have rings while being the best player, or maybe in KD's case, the second best player, but I don't know. Topic for another day. They all have rings while, leading their team. 6 through 11, other than Anthony Davis, none of them have rings. And Anthony Davis, you could argue he had a Mickey Mouse ring, ooh. But without LeBron, Davis really hasn't won. I don't know what else to say. Pelicans, they didn't even make it out like the second round or anything.
Number 4, I got Luka Doncic. He's capable of going off for 40, 50 points in any given game. And he comes up in the playoff. When the playoff time comes, he gets better.
Wasn't this his exclamation for Jason Tatum, too?
He had 4 40-point games in that Clippers series, but his teammates weren't really helping him, so he couldn't defeat them. However, he's a great player, and I expect him to be probably the MVP next year. and maybe the greatest of all time.
Should I make a way too early predictions for like MVP, DPOY, and stuff like that? That'd be a fun video. Luka, if he wins an MVP, I'll put him in the next tier, but so far, he didn't win MVP. His team has never been better than like a 4 seed. And they never made it out of the first round. So, not much I can say here. The Mavericks are built for a star to come play for them. If LeBron was on the Mavericks would be a much better team than if Luka was on the Mavericks. You have a good second scoring option in Kristaps, and I know he had a terrible playoffs, but he is capable of being an elite scorer. And at 7'3", he's kind of like at 7'3", he's a stretch big and a quality third scoring option in Tim Hardaway Jr., a good pass first point guard, Jalen Brunson, two-way players like Dorian Finney-Smith, Josh Richardson, and of course Boban. I don't know, the Mavericks are just built for a star to come save them. And so far, Luka hasn't done that, but I hope he can eventually.
If all goes right. Number 3, I got Giannis. He's coming off of his first championship where he led the Bucks. Obviously, he was doing the most, dropping 50 points, 40 points, and multiple 40-point games in the finals. He had a great finals coming off of injury. He also had a great season for the last 3. He's a 2-time MVP, 1-time Finals MVP. Not much I got to say. Giannis is 3. Number 2, I got.
Oh man. Uh-oh. Whew. So, his reason for putting Giannis at 3 is he just won a Finals MVP and he won a regular season MVP for the last 2 seasons before this season. Curry hasn't done any of that in the last 2 seasons. Actually, Curry has never won a Finals MVP. I'm going to listen to what he says about Curry. I'm going to make sure I don't punch a hole in my wall, too. But I completely disagree with this ranking.
I got Steph Curry, my favorite player, and took a Warriors team that was the 15 seed and brought him to a 9.
He literally just says my favorite player, so he's admitting that he's biased pretty much.
Seed, technically, his record was an 8 seed, but lost in the play-in tournament, so he was a 9 seed. And he just had a great season, 32 points per game. Just put the Warriors on his back.
32 points per game with nobody else that can score. So if Giannis was on a bad team like today's Giannis, he'd average 32. If LeBron had to, he'd average 32, but he'd carry a bad team to the playoffs like in 2007 or 2018. LeBron would carry this Warriors to like this 4th seed. Same thing with Kawhi, and I don't know about Giannis, but probably Giannis. And I'm just realizing Curry's number 2. Kevin Durant is number 1. Curry's number 2. Oh man, I didn't expect this from him. I did not expect this from him. Did he finally wake up? Did he finally listen to basketball? He noticed Kevin Durant's better than Curry? Congratulations. You're not dumb anymore.
His back was hurting by the end of the season. And it's just a great season, great player. But not enough to be the best player in the NBA. The best player in the NBA is Kevin Durant. He's coming in at my number 1 spot.
Ooh, he did it. He's correct with this one. He is definitely correct with this one.
Now, I was thinking of putting Curry and maybe even Luka ahead of him, but
yeah, you're not going to put Luka ahead of Kevin Durant.
At the end of the day, I came to the realization that Kevin Durant is the best player in the NBA. He's the type of player that not even the best defenders can stop him if he's playing at his best.
You can't see this right now because I'm not using a webcam, but I just made the Pug Champ face staring at my screen. I'm surprised he's this nice to Kevin Durant.
He was literally inches, centimeters away from probably winning the championship. Because if he got past those Bucks, I don't see a team that could have defeated him from there on. The Hawks weren't going to beat him. I don't think the Suns were going to beat him. He is the best player in the NBA, and that's all I gotta say.
He was really confident with that. It makes me feel like he actually means what he's saying right now.
I probably got a new video coming out when 2K22 does. I'm going to play some My Team, probably some My Career. So stay tuned for that. Like and subscribe. Go check out Mr. Staple NBA.
Alright, yeah, go sub to him. Now, for the second part of this video, this part 2 might have to be split up into 2 parts. I'm going to be responding to some comments on my old video.